Hello, good people. This is Kenyan I. We thank you. Yet again, we are here. We want to discuss a few issues. We would be discussing about the trend in the Kenyan politics and what is happening in our country. Well, my name is Evans Nderito. I'll be your host, and I'm joined by Wakili Odeya. You're very welcome.
Thank you very much, sir.
Well, the first thing I want us to discuss about the big announcement by the ODM leader, Raila Odinga. He is yet to declare if he will run for the presidency or not, coming this Friday, I believe. So what are the big expectations about this? Is Raila going to run?
That's a question that I expect from very many Kenyans to ask themselves. But to me, I don't see it as a question. Because one, okay, whom do you expect again to run against William Ruto in next year's election? Is there another person to give him a good competition? No. So what we expect on Friday is actually the major announcement will be Raila is going to run for 2022 presidential elections. And the reasons are obvious. There is nobody who can invest in campaigns heavily like Raila Odinga has invested in Azimio la Umoja, campaigning all over the world and you can all over the country, and you can see the energy that the energy and the branding, how they are doing their campaigns.
Right.
There is nobody who can actually move across the country mobilizing all the people like that for another person. Yes. So let nobody cheat another person that Raila Odinga will say.
The big question that the Kenyans are asking themselves is, why all this big function at the Kasarani Gymnasium? Why don't he just declare his presidency just even from his office or even in a public rally like the others have done?
Okay, remember I was saying this that we are not much expecting that Raila is going to say maybe so and so Tosha in Kasarani, but we are not ruling it out. Mm-hmm. But based on what we see politicians do,
yes.
Remember in 2002 he did not start campaigning and rallying Kenyans behind him, yes, like he's doing today before he said, Kibaki Tosha. Mm-hmm. So we don't expect such an expectation.
Yes.
Number two, you asked a question why should it be a big function? I also was asking myself those questions, but it came to my realization that, this is not just an ODM thing. You saw them yesterday saying that it is a national thing that is going to involve, a number of political parties, yes, that are, and a number of, and even in the campaigns, Raila is mentioning that sitaki wafuasi nataka washirika. So the term washirika, that means that that what they are going to do,
he is yet to form coalitions.
So he was looking for friends to form a coalition.
Yes.
So what we expect is that actually the formation of a coalition, the announcement of the bigger coalition in Kenya in terms of 2022 politics, mm-hmm, is going to be unveiled on Friday.
Well,
and we also not rule out the issue of Raila maybe saying, mm-hmm, so and so Tosha. Mm-hmm. Why? Not Tosha for presidency, mm-hmm, Tosha for his running mate.
For his running.
Yes.
So
remember what he did in 2007? Mm-hmm. Yes. After there was a rivalry between
Odeya, you want to mean that Raila will declare his candidature and then he will name his running mate?
He may name the running mate.
Right.
Why I'm referring to the scenario of 2007. When he raised up the hand of Musalia Mudavadi against Ruto. Ruto expected to be the running mate of Raila Odinga starting from 2007.
Yes.
But Raila went for Musalia Mudavadi and said Musalia Mudavadi Tosha for running mate.
Right.
For deputizing him. Mm-hmm. That was then we used to call them the vice presidents.
Now, Emmanuel, there's another thing I want us to discuss about when the Oka coalition, those members of the Oka coalition, starting with the Ford Kenya leader, the Kalonzo Musyoka of Wiper, Musalia Mudavadi of ANC, and Gideon Moi of KANU.
Yes.
When KANU was endorsing Gideon Moi for the presidency, we saw some of the leaders from the Oka coalition there. When the Wiper was endorsing Kalonzo Musyoka, Raila Odinga also attended. Now, should we expect the Oka leaders to make their way there at the Kasarani Gymnasium?
Thank you. We are not saying that we are very sure, but we are expecting them there.
We are expecting them to make their way.
These are guys that, when I attended your function as a colleague, for example, you had maybe, let's say you have a graduation. You have just graduated for your master's or maybe for your degree.
Yes.
Then as a friend, I attend your function, at your own invite. You've invited me for that function. Then you see me graduating tomorrow, even if I've not invited you, my friend.
Definitely I'll come.
You will just roam in as a regular visitor. You don't, not even an invited visitor, as a brother, and then say, this one is my brother. When he's launching his thing, we are there. And also, we should not forget about the meetings that have been taking place at the State House.
Right.
There have been meetings that people are
the president has been summoning all these people.
That it is perceived that they were, being asked to unite and rally behind who? Raila Odinga.
Right.
So they will be there. And number two, I was talking to another analyst just yesterday, and then he gave me a statement that was very funny, but it looks somehow, real, that, OCA, it is formed by 4 principles who fear one another. That you might be at home as Wetangula, at your home in Bungoma or maybe in Nairobi. Then all of a sudden you think that you are not going to attend the Raila function. Then you see Mudavadi roaming in the Kasarani Stadium. What will you do if you are actually you are Kalonzo Musyoka or you are a Wetangula?
I'll be worried.
You will be worried, and you will move once you see him. You will also move there.
You also make your way there.
Due to that thing, we may say that from the OCA team, we can expect on Friday a member like, for example, Kalonzo Musyoka. We expect him to make his way to the Kasarani.
Right.
These are anticipations. We are not saying it is real, but from what we have seen, because Raila Odinga attended his when he was being, endorsed as the presidential candidate for the Wiper Party.
Right.
Same to Gideon Moyo. We are expecting him to be there, and then we expect another fellow from the other fellows from the Jubilee Party, and of course other affiliate parties that would like to work with them. You remember the UPIA Party and the other people. We are expecting them because those are people who are behind the handshake.
Right.
But I doubt, and I'm not very sure if Musalia Mudavadi would be able to attend, due to what is happening in the party. You remember what is actually happening in the party.
There are internal pressures.
There are a number of Musalia Mudavadi's men whom, in ANC, whom you can easily see them moving to Kasarani.
Right.
Like, for example, Ayub Savula is a member of parliament for Lugari, and we expect him at Kasarani.
Yes.
Why? They are actually having wrangles in the party over the leadership or the actually in what I can call the succession of the Kakamega gubernatorial seat.
Before we move to something else, I want us to finish up with this. But before we finish up with this issue of Raila declaring his presidency, I want us to listen in to what President Kenyatta had to say while he was in Nakuru, while he was giving the charter for Nakuru to be declared as a city officially, and congratulations to the residents of Nakuru. I want us to listen to what President Kenyatta had to say before I ask you something else.
Uongozi uko hapa. Uongozi sio mpira ya kuchezwa kwa kiwanja. Uongozi sio sprint, ni marathon. Wewe utakimbia hapa, by the time umefika pale pumzi imeisha. Lakini mzee amekanyanga polepole akuja kupitia ukiwa bado kwa barabara. Tunaelewana wenzangu? Mos.
Now, having heard what the president had said, now he is using parables of, you've heard what he is saying, like vijana wanakimbia zaidi, and wanasema usidharau mzee. This is a matter of not a sprint, it is a marathon. So what are these parables? What was the president trying to say? Is President Kenyatta still endorsing Raila Odinga, or what is happening?
Definitely yes. It is actually obvious. It is a reason that is seen as open as it is, as you have said. It was just a message of saying that, I am behind Raila Odinga, and that I'm coming with my troops to actually campaign and make sure that we win the victory to Raila Amolo Odinga. You see, because when you tell us that every parable has a meaning. Yes. And in Swahili, when you are told of a medali, then you are told that it has got the inner meaning and the outer meaning. What does it mean? So if somebody tells you that there is an elderly person who is coming at a maybe a certain pace or base, then there is a young person who is going just. It is like he was describing young persons as people who don't know what is ahead, who have not that experience of maybe running a marathon or what. So he was referring to a leadership as a marathon and not a sprint. So what we expect is that if indeed he did like that and he was in Mount Kenya, Nakuru County is a part of Mount Kenya, even though the larger part of it is in Rift Valley. The Gema community, right? Yes, it's a Gema community, basically speaking. So he is just endorsing Raila Amolo Odinga, trying to compare him. Actually, what he meant by saying... Do you think the president is worried about him saying that vijana wanaenda kwa kasi, wameenda haraka sana? Okay. Who are these vijana, by the way? I was explaining that the one he is referring to as an elder is actually Raila Amolo Odinga. Yes. The youths now is the group that is being led by William Samoei Ruto. William Samoei, the deputy president now. Right. And we must say, because it is in the public domain and it is something to be said, it is something not that you cannot be worried. William Ruto has been out there seriously campaigning for quite some time, but and he has been mobilizing the ground. No. The deputy president has come out very well. He has said he has not yet started campaigning. These are politicians. We must understand their languages. Even Raila is saying that I have not announced my bid when he is campaigning. You see, you cannot tell me I have not announced when you are campaigning. When you start campaigning, even if you tell me I will announce tomorrow, you have already announced to Kenyans that you are actually on the race. Right. You see? So deputy president has been campaigning. That's a fact. You know that. He has been in Meru. He has been in all over. The other day he was in Nyeri, where I gave him 100% out of what he did. Just to mention a few, the branding was very well planned. A very good branding in terms of politics. It was painted UDA. Yes. And then also he won by actually receiving some new members, including the governor. The president is actually seeing the pressure that William Samoei Ruto is actually pushing and moving and trying to paint himself as a candidate of the people. You see? Yes. Then moving with the youths, telling the youths that, are you after people creating their positions or not? We are going to look for jobs. And the youths are desperate. Definitely the youths, he is seeing a scenario whereby the youths are likely to vote in somebody like Samoei Ruto. So that is why he compared them. And you saw when he started, it was like a warning, something like a warning, that, are you getting me? Are you getting? And he was repeating in Swahili, munanipata. So that shows that his focus was much on youth who have been seen as, rallying behind William Samoei Ruto.